Good Friday evening, everybody. Meteorologist Casey Cloud here in the Weather Center with an update on the weather situation right now as we look toward parts of North Florida and South Georgia, where we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in play for parts of Nassau, Brantley, Camden, Charlton, and Ware counties till about 8:15 or so. It's a short fuse severe thunderstorm warning, but watching it very carefully here. I know we're looking off the Moody Air Force Base radar. There's issues with the Jacksonville radar right now, so not exactly sure what's happening down toward the surface, but just going to continue to track things here with the Doppler Radar echoes here around US 1 right now, US 301. You can kind of see here quite a bit of heavy rainfall occurring up this way. The velocity values here showing some wind energy, at least a little bit higher up there in the atmosphere, maybe trying to reach the surface as well here as maybe the accent tries to fall apart here over the next little bit. But you see Hilliard there, you see Folkston. This is a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour wind potential until 8:15. So again, a pretty short fused warning, but we're watching areas there around Hilliard, Folkston, Homeland there, Keens Ferry, Race Pond, Fort Mudge, Winnaker, Tarboro. Just enough population in here and enough potential considering our severe warnings earlier in a lesser populated area. We actually had radar issues with both the Moody side and the Jacksonville side. We had issues with the radars then when we had a storm that was severe as we were looking out toward areas there just east of Valdosta a little bit. So definitely interesting situation here. We just want to be mindful that these storms could produce some wind damage. I know that was right after that warning occurred there. It was issued earlier on. That first warning, really, that's the two warnings were issued is when the damage reports were coming on in from there, a little bit delayed, but nonetheless, just kind of interesting to see here in this scenario. We have some other storms here toward Lake City, toward the west side of Jacksonville, toward northern Baker County, but luckily toward Lake Butler, Stark, and Keystone, things are staying dry for the graduation ceremonies. That's to be kicking on off about right now here. This high school graduation ceremony. It's got really lucky as of now, it looks like, unless things try to redevelop in here. But right now, things are really looking about the best they could here in this situation. I didn't get as much rain as we were anticipating here earlier on. Some areas didn't really get any rain, even down toward north central Florida. So that's some good news here. Of course, we still have rain chances toward the weekend or next week, but luckily, some of these areas are getting luckier than what the models were suggesting here and what the guidance really was suggesting overall. But again, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for Folkston and Hilliard and Winnaker right now here until about 8:15. Again, you have some greens and reds indicative of maybe some downbursts in here. We're looking pretty high up, so it's hard to see exactly what's going on in the situation, but definitely some heavier downpours here for sure. So you just have to be kind of aware of that. I know earlier on we had a situation toward parts there of Michigan that was so serious there up toward the Gaylord, Michigan area, seeing some big time problems there with a significant tornado touching down there around 3:50 or so Eastern time. So definitely something we'll kind of try to touch on here a little bit more. We'll pop up the radar from earlier in that area up toward Gaylord there in Michigan, a pretty highly populated area hit by a significant tornado there. So that's definitely something that's noteworthy for sure as we kind of continue to watch things here. No rural tornado threat into our area, granted. I mean, yeah, as we saw on Sunday, you can't ever really rule out a quick spin up this time of year, but really the parameters aren't there for that in our neck of the woods. But again, earlier on, they were there toward areas of northern Michigan, and we'll try to break that down for you here a little bit later on. But right now, looking at the Doppler radar here with our severe warning, you can see toward Folkston, toward Hilliard, toward Winnaker, we're seeing some pretty heavy winds, some rain there falling that's heavy as well. That lightning threat, remember when thunder roars go indoors, but luckily things really staying outside the dangerous radius for concern at this point towards Stark, Lake Butler, and Keystone here for the graduations tonight. So that's definitely some good news in this situation. So continuing to watch things though up toward the north. I have the radar here. I'm rolling it back right now toward about 350 or so. We'll kind of just show everybody together here what a signature looks like that's so serious like this one was. Again, this is the radar from about 330, 350. It's going to be a loop here that I'll put together just to kind of show you guys what happened up there. That really big national story there, just right near Interstate 75, ironically, there in Michigan. So a road that connects our area, but way up there, obviously, with this significant impact. I'm going to zoom out even to be able to see this loop here, and just be able to see the hook echo. It's really well defined here. The issues were coming in from the west here for them, and then wrapping up in the worst possible area pretty much here to cause issues. So here's that loop now on our radar scope source. You can kind of see it right here even. I move my mouse over and then kind of follow it. It really wrapped up. You had a debris ball even right in toward Gaylord, Michigan earlier on. A significant situation. The first things weren't wrapping up, but then you see started to have that little hook, and then eventually again wrapping up right in toward a area where you don't want to see something like that. A highly densely populated area that didn't get severe weather very often, getting what appears to have been a significant tornado earlier on there. Toward some of those areas, toward I-75, toward Gaylord, Michigan. Again, just trying to keep you guys updated on our local severe weather concern as well, though. That's what we're showing you at radar here. But I'll see that debris signature right over the interstate, right over Interstate 75 there in Michigan. We'll go back to that now. You're able to see I have it circled for you guys. This is at 347, that tornadic debris there, and then just kind of seeing the situation overall here. We'll kind of put the radar view back on here for you in just a moment. You'll be able to kind of see what has happened there with that. That was a debris signature about 349, just off toward the east and a little bit north there. So serious situation there from the national perspective. But let's get back to local weather. This isn't a huge threat. It's kind of marginal between whether I go on or don't go on. But I felt we should just go ahead and jump on because there's enough interest versus the population count and the overall storm severity to come on the air on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch right now, and radar coverage being an issue as well. Don't know exactly what's happening. If I could see from the Jacksonville side, I might have been able to rule out having to go on, but just couldn't really see good enough because there's a few different areas really. I'll go ahead and put my mouse on the screen on this, so I will go ahead and jump on over there right now and kind of see what we're talking about. But there's a few different areas of wind enhancement here. One of these further off toward the west here, toward the Okefenokee Swamp. This area here, closer toward Hilliard. And then a third area even, maybe you could almost say fourth area as well, but another area there to the south of Winneker, seeing some wind enhancement. So again, we're going to look a little higher up than normal, but nonetheless trying to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your family. Thankfully, if you're at graduation right now, you and at like Butler, at Stark, at Keystone, you don't need to be watching me here at this point. Watch the graduation because things are looking good down here toward these areas. Again, Lake Butler, Stark, Keystone, things are looking all right. It looks like we're going to be able to get to these ceremonies unless something really pops up on us quick here. I'm going to go get out of these ceremonies without any lightning danger. That's really good news, obviously, here, as long as they're going off as scheduled. But as we get up toward the north here, getting up toward Folkston and Hilliard, you'll be able to see US 1. You can see around Folkston there, getting some pretty heavy rainfall. Again, it's uncertain exactly how much wind energy we're seeing here because of the way we're having to look at things. But just with the history of the storminess, earlier we had some issues toward areas east of Austin. But Doppler Radar had some issues at the time, and they did issue the warnings there, but it's uncertain what was happening in pretty rural areas, but we ended up having quite a few reports of wind damage there. So I just want to be on the side of caution right now by coming on the more populated area here. And just kind of seeing a few different areas that are kind of interesting. We're not sure if the wind potential is reaching the surface or not, but as we get down there closer toward areas there south, it looks like, if I zoom in tighter, south of State Route 252, you can kind of see some wind energy there, so we'll keep our eyes on that. But let's go ahead and punch up the normal radar view again here. You can kind of see what's happening. We're at 8:09 right now. We're going to see what they do here. The Weather Service in Jacksonville, whether they extend a warning or let it go here at 8:15. But we're going to continue to watch things, continue to monitor the situation, obviously, and I'll give you the latest updates as necessary on different platforms here to keep you guys advised of the situation. So again, seeing things here within the Doppler, that's already the only area of concern right now. We do have some action towards Sumter and Hernando counties, and we could have a later night here for some storms. I just have to kind of keep that in mind here as well. I know some of the models have been showing things that have been really inconsistent here today. I mean, looking at some of the latest runs, they're not really showing too much here developing, surprisingly, through the rest of the evening. The models have not done a good job. The HRRR, honestly, has not done a very good job in this situation handling this. But again, you're going to continue to monitor things, continue to track the situation here as we get up toward Folkston. Again, this is a pretty big box. Pretty big warning polygon. It includes parts of Nassau in Florida, Brantley, Camden, Charlton, and Ware in Georgia. So I just kind of want to err on the side of caution here in case we have some wind potential. It looks like maybe things are kind of riding it a little bit in here, but again, we're right on the edge of things. There is some wind enhancement there towards State Road 252, so we have to bear that in mind as well. As I'll go ahead and go now to our storm total rainfall. You've already kind of see we've seen some areas get an inch or so, maybe even inch and a half as we get towards some of the brighter yellows on the screen. So that's something to bear in mind as well. I know you have to see these numbers. These are wind gust reports here from different sites. You see quite a few gusts in the 30 range toward Duval County a little bit earlier on. So that's kind of interesting. It's been a little gusty toward Bradford County where I'm at as well. I know we had a storm there moving kind of toward Keystone, kind of went off a little further toward the east there earlier on, but we're not having to worry about that at this point. But again, we're tracking things toward the north here, toward Folkston, Charlton County. Again, severe thunderstorm warning for another 3 minutes or so. Remember, when thunder roars, you want to go indoors in these type of situations. In fact, I'll go ahead and pull up our safety tips here. Again, when thunder roars, go indoors, seek shelter inside a sturdy building, stay away from windows here in this area. Again, a severe thunderstorm warning in play until 8:15. Again, you see some reds and greens here coming together as we're watching, but nothing too impressive. Again, we're looking higher up on the Doppler Radar technology, so things that just are kind of not necessarily indicative of maybe what's reaching the surface. But as I say that, we are now getting word they're going to go ahead and let the severe thunderstorm warning go, so that's very good news. So I think at this point we're going to go ahead and wrap things up here with the coverage. Of course, there's rain chances still as we get toward the weekend, toward early next week as well. So just remember, whenever thunder roars, you want to go indoors here. You'll break back in if necessary here throughout the rest of the night, weekend, and the next week as well to keep you, your friends, and your family safe. Of course, we're not on. We'll go ahead and just post a battle warning, and you can get the warnings even quicker if you want to get them right away. That automated account, Twitter account there at cloud_WDX is helpful for that as well. I know there's a strong storm advisory up toward Albany, winds in excess of 30 possible there. I don't want to leave you guys out because radar's a little bit further off from there, but nothing too impressive with that at this point. It doesn't look like here based on just the overall situation. It looks like it's weakened, even though we're looking pretty high up. Looks like it has weakened toward Dougherty County there, so that's good news up toward southwestern Georgia. But thanks so much for tuning in. We'll be back if necessary. But for now, just again, thanks so much for trusting me.